So yesterday I had the opportunity to interview Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, who really has been leading kind of the progressive charge for a better response in Congress. You'll recall we covered here last week. She and Mark Pocan, who are co-chairs of the Progressive Caucus, sent a letter asking for a pause on the HEROES Act because their priorities, specifically nationalizing small business payrolls, were not there. They then tried to whip the votes. They only got 14 votes to vote against the rule to consider the bill. And then Pramila was actually the only one, Congresswoman Jayapal, to vote against the HEROES Act ultimately. So we talked about a lot of things. I encourage people to go check out the interview. But in particular, what I was curious about from our perspective of this show is whether she had been coordinating any with the populist Republicans who were also behind this idea. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
There are reasons why this is important, and it's bicameral and bipartisan. So Josh Hawley, Republican from Missouri, and Cory Gardner from Colorado have a similar proposal. The numbers aren't
have you been speaking with them, by the way? Are you working together with them at all?
Yes. Our staffs have been working very closely together and staying in touch.
Really
interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
I mean,
not something that I would have seen anywhere else.
Yeah, I think that we're the first to have that on the record, that there's actually any coordination even between at staff level between Republicans in the Senate who are behind this idea and the progressives in the House that are behind this idea. So that was pretty interesting. Of course, we've tracked here how this has become not even so much of an ideological thing as it's, for some people it's ideological, and obviously they want to do the best for American people. For others, this is like the cynical calculation. Swing state Dems, these moderate, like typically corporatist Dems, have jumped on board because they're looking at their own numbers and saying, we got to do something here. And that's the same dynamic with Cory Gardner.
That's really the view I've started to embrace is I don't even try to make the moral political argument anymore. I'm like, listen,
they literally
do you want to win re-election? That's it. Like, I'm like, do you want to win re-election, folks? I'll show you the poll. Check.
Yeah.
And then people are like, that's
okay. Yeah. Speak to them in the language that they understand.
Let's talk. Okay, so like whenever I argue with people, they're like, reopen all this stuff, and I'm like, again, I want to reopen the economy, but I know that for just doing so will not provide V-shaped economic growth, and that we'll get saddled and that's screwed at the ballot box in November. So I'm like, listen, the one way that you can stop all of this, you can enact this sort of plan, and then you're good. Or say it doesn't happen, at least be on the record so you can tell your constituents, hey, I tried. Hey, I tried. Because Cory Gardner is never going to get saddled by John Hickenlooper now, or whomever he runs against, in that race saying, I didn't do everything I possibly could to make sure every single one of you wasn't out of work. And that is compelling. Now, he can say, look, there weren't enough people who were on my side, but I fought my own party in a principled position in order to save your job. That's that is the number one thing that people care about. And this is a party that loves to talk about how people vote on the economy. And everyone's like, it's the economy, stupid. Oh, where is all that now? It's like,
where'd that energy go? Yeah.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills because these people are just like, reopen the economy. That's all people want. Everyone's constitutional rights are getting trampled on. Yeah, that is true in many cases. But regardless, you look at the polling, majority of the American people don't feel safe dining out, getting on an airplane, taking part in any leisure activity whatsoever. Only 55% say they would feel safe going back to their workplace. So that's half the population. So again, you can look at this over and over. And the majority of them support, the vast majority, say that they would rather be safe than speed reopen.
And
so it's so clear.
And we see actually not only on that front are they reopening right now, but also President Trump came out and said if there is another spike in infections, like we're not going to shut down again, which just seems to me insane that you're not going to look at the facts and the data as it unfolds and make the right decision at the time. But specifically on this piece, look, we have to be honest, it's very delicate when, working for the right, working with progressives. How many times do you get called like a socialist or whatever for sitting next to me on this show, right? So it's very delicate for them. It's very delicate, as I've experienced, right, for progressives to work together on economic issues with anyone on the right who holds, other views that people consider problematic. It's very delicate to do. That same level of scrutiny never comes down on bipartisan cooperation bipartisan when it's like corporatists working
That's amazing,
together.
isn't it?
But it's only when you have these like, few populist elements or ideas and there's got to be cross-party cooperation all of a sudden. It's like, oh, we can't have that.
So
They're unconscionable.
When staffs get together to expand Medicare Part D and give a bunch of money to the pharmaceutical industry, nobody says a word. Right? When staffs get together to cut Social Security or to
they're lauded.
Or
so
to give money to like the Venezuelan government in waiting,
right?
Or to extend the AUMF,
right?
Or to extend FISA,
up the military budget, no problem,
right? Or to like put more money into Afghanistan, or to put more money into Pakistan. I mean, I can
trade
go on.
deals,
NAFTA was real bipartisan, right?
Yeah.
So was PNTR with China.
Oh, and they were so responsible the way they worked together, the civility of it. I just loved it.
On that, these people get no criticism. But you dare to work together to challenge the establishments of your own party, and you're going to get tagged every which way.
Yes.
So look, I have no optimism that this will bear fruit of any kind because I know what coalitional politics are on both the left and the right. But it just goes to show how big of a hypocrites the people who are actually going after them are when they work together all the time to screw you. But
right. They don't have any problem with that.
Yeah.
To me, this is like a little tiny, tender green shoot. It's like, okay, like a little tiny thing that maybe can be protected and cultivated. So
we'll see.
Anyway, interesting talking to the Congresswoman yesterday. More Rising for you after this.